good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? How was your Sunday? I know this clearly isn't my usual time on a Sunday, but I do have a good excuse for it. My son was in a soccer tournament this weekend and he made it to the final today. And the final was, guess when? 2 o'clock. So I had to rush around, get things done. I actually went to church last night, which was awesome. That's another conversation. And then got up, got everything ready today, and had to drive quite a way. And then I got back, had some food, and I was like, I'm going to have a glass of wine with my favorite people. Yes, I am. With my favorite people. And we're going to have a night. You go get it, Rambet. Go and get a glass of wine, some whiskey. We are chilling and putting the world to rights tonight. So, cheers. Cheers. It's a nice glass of Pinot right there. All right. So, I was talking to a guy at the soccer game. He's strange enough, he's a German guy. I heard him it was talking like this, yeah. He wasn't talking like that at all. He was a really, really nice guy. And got, oh my goodness me, where's he been? Drunk 3PO, my buddy Jay in the house gives 5 Matthew Master channel memberships. And so, Master of None and Jeanette O2, Rough Night, I'm sure it was, Cara Duen, 1976, Honeysuckle, Rain, 5526. You all got memberships from the most awesome, my good friend, hold on, the most awesome, Drunk 3PO, but we shall call him sparkly line for you, but you never saw that coming, did ya? Thank you so very much, and cheers. There's going to be a lot of cheersing tonight. Yes, there is. So, 6 months of membership in the hizzle. What? All right. So I was talking to this German guy, and he said something to me because we were watching the game. And I've noticed this because, my son was at a really, really low level initially because I was like, whatever, he's going to go out and see if he can play. I saw he got really good instincts. So he went up to the next level. He's in club now, scored a ton of goals. Got a lot to work on. Don't get me wrong, a lot to work on. But he's got really good instinct. And then they put him in the higher team this weekend and scored 1 goal. But he was basically marked out the game. Anyway, it's a long story, but there's something that I noticed, and I've noticed at every level. And I'm going to talk about soccer initially, because when I was growing up, the game of soccer is it's very simple. It's a simple game. And there's 2 keys to the game. Number 1 is hold your shape, which when I was growing up, we had like 4-4-2. Now it's all like 3-5-1 and all these other different, different formations. I was just trying to figure out, is that right? 3-5-1? No, it's not enough. But 3-5-1-1 or whatever. Anyway. My point is, hang on a minute. Can you guys hear me okay? Is everything all right? No, because last time we had a little bit of buffering. But anyway. And so you stay in your formation, stay where you're meant to be, and you receive the ball then pass, receive the ball then pass, receive the ball then pass. And you always had one like what we call Big Time Charlie, right? Oh, low end of the volume. This is really weird. This happened last time. Hello. I've got everything up full, so I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, we'd have one guy that was the guy that tried to do everything. And he used to drive you mad. It didn't matter how good he was. You were like, be a team player. Be a team player. And what I've noticed in these soccer teams, they always try to do too much. They always try to do one too many dribbles. They always try to do one too many tricks instead of just keeping it simple. And now, hold on, let me have a look. And I'm going to see why that is, guys. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can change it. No. It's about as max as I can go, guys. But anyways. Okay, I'll talk like this. Right into the microphone. It'll look a little bit weird. But or I'll project, I'll enunciate to the back row. But I thought that was a very interesting kind of analogy for life, right? Like, why right now do people think that they're experts in something and they haven't done the work to get there? You have to learn to do the simple things. And it's funny because, you know, my son's on this different team and I get passionate, man. I'm like, And what I said to my son, I'm sure you guys can appreciate this. I said, listen, I don't care if you lose. I just want you to put 100% effort in. That's all I want. I want you to work your socks off. Because if you lose and you've given everything, nobody cares, right? Let's look at Rocky, right? He gave it everything. And he comes out the hero. He wasn't skilled enough. He got a lot of heart, but he really worked hard. And I just don't think that a lot of the kids today have this in them. And so if your kid does, then they're going to dominate. They're going to absolutely dominate. But I noticed that some of the kids, they weren't committed. They weren't going into the tackles hard. They were like kind of, yeah. And it just made me think, because the German guy who's around my age was like, I think it may be a little bit older. But he was like, I don't care as long as they work hard. And it was really funny hearing it from somebody else. And the great thing about this team was that there were a bunch of other parents there that had played. And when I'd say something about the game, they'd say, yeah, no, we totally agree. Yeah, no, they've got to do this, they've got to do that. And they were actually critical of their kids. And I want to say, like, we've got into this kind of headspace now where you don't expect anything from your kids. Everything's got to be great. Everything they do is great. Because, you know, we might damage them if we tell them, hey, listen, you sucked in that game. And I'm a big believer of being honest. And this all ties into, clearly, what I want to talk about is the world being in chaos right now. And I'm going to break down some different reasons. But even if you're a Gen Xer or older, even if you came from a good background, you had to work. You had to work hard. Didn't matter. You had to work hard. There was no faking it. I don't know if you were just tougher back then. But every single thing that you did, most parents made you work for it. And that's gone. You know, you have helicopter parents, you know, Tarquin and Tabitha, they've got to have everything. They don't do chores around the house. They don't work hard. And then on the other hand, what I've noticed now, I actually asked this to a friend of mine, which is absolutely true. When you play against Mexican teams, mostly Mexican teams in soccer, they are really dirty players. And they're really dirty players. This is my own interpretation, should I say, of why. And that's because their coaches, who are normally Mexican as well, teach them to be physical. But they don't know the line between being physical and being dirty. And in an ideal world, you want a bit of the both, right? You want the skill and the finesse, but you also want the physicality. But it's the way you teach them the physicality. Again, it's another great metaphor, right? You want to be physical, but you don't want to be a bully. You want to be strong, but you don't want to be overpowering all the time. And I feel like I've said on this show multiple times about nuance, about how important nuance is. And we seem to have lost that completely. I mean, obviously the people that follow me haven't, because they're here because they understand. But if we don't get back to understanding nuance and like literally forcing other people to accept it, and that sounds like a horrible thing, but it's not, because forcing some, like, let me put it like this. Sorry, I've got a cable wrapped around my leg here. So, hang on a second. Let me see. Are you guys still there? Let me know. I hope I haven't been cut off. Let me see. There you go. You're still there. Okay. Thank you, Crazy Cook. What do I mean by that? If someone is a horrible drunk and they're going to die, it is good to force them to be sober. Because they can be destructive to themselves. They can be a destructive force. What we're seeing in the lack of nuance and the lack of people wanting to do enough to explain their position is we get polarization, right? We get people going off, they get balkanized, they go into their groups, right? So the left has been really effective at doing this and getting rid of the nuance. So, for example, you see it in particular, the first thing that comes to mind is when they talk to Christians and they say, you hate gays. And Christians will say, no, I don't hate anyone. I hate sin. But I don't have to approve of the way you live your life. But I can still love you. To me, that seems a very simple concept to grasp, right? You can love someone still and object to something that they do. So, for example, if you had a family member who you loved, whether it's a brother, whether it's a sister, and they defrauded someone out of money, You could say, I hate what you did. What you did was horrible, but I still love you. And this is just like, people can't think of it anymore. You can't do that. You can't have some kind of nuanced position on something, because obviously you're full of crap if you do, right? You're either in this camp or in that camp. Another example of this, and I don't want to get too deep into it, is what's going on with the Conservatives right now. And I mean, look, I'm a huge Donald Trump fan. I hate what he put out about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I'm just like, what is going on? And I don't really know Marjorie Taylor Greene's positions on stuff. I know that she's been very outspoken at times, and she said a lot of things that a lot of conservatives are thinking. And she seems to me to be one of the only people that are really looking out for the people. I might be wrong. I'm not. She might have said some really bad things. I don't know. But this sniping at one another it's absurd. Charles. So, what do we have? To contribute to the chaos that we're seeing in the world is this kind of social media, got to get the clicks mentality. And with the social media, what it does, it puts a barrier between you and the person. You never say that to them in real life. We've said this multiple times. Multiple times. And it just forces people apart. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I've been thinking a lot about how we solve the issues, and how, like I said in the last show I did, like, have I fallen into that trap a little bit? I try and be as nuanced as I possibly can. So I'm just reading what Sulla Felix says. 7 years ago, she was worth 700,000. There is one thing I know about her with this, is she bought her father's business. So that might be related to that. I don't know. I mean, listen, all of them are at it. There's only muggins like me who stand up for what they believe in and don't get anything out of it. Just no work, because they don't want conservatives in Hollywood. And yeah, I mean, look, it might be convenient and finishes 2 days after she gets a lifetime taxpayer pension. So what? I think that's fine. If everyone else is doing it, she should. Why should she, turn around and say no? Yeah, I mean, Mike D, I feel the same. Hey, Tom, I don't know enough about her to comment, but I don't like the bickering. And I don't like what Trump wrote about it. I just think that we should be a little bit classier than that. I don't know, people go, well, Trump's done bad things before, but I'm like, I don't know. On Twitter, I mean, X. So what we've got right now, and I've been really pondering it, like, why does there seem like there's so much chaos in the world, right? Why? It just seems, and that's why the other day I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to come off X. I'm going to cancel my account. I'm still thinking about it. because we live in this like hyper accelerated news cycle. It's like just bombard you all day long. And I realized, over the last 2 days, I've been just with my son a lot because we had to share the duties with the kids. And it was just great. It was just great. And that's why today I was meant to go to something else. And I said, no, I'm whether my son wins or not, I'm going to be there for his final. I mean, I'm there for all my kids' games, right? Like, so yesterday I was there all day with him. But today there was a business thing that I really should have gone to. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to be there with him. And, it just made me think about being detached from the political thing, because the political thing like exhausts you. People don't see it. It exhausts you because if you really care, then you're thinking about it a lot. You're thinking about what the future of the country is going to be, what the future of England's going to be. How can you avoid any bad things that will dramatically change society? And that's what we're seeing. I mean, we're not even seeing just like incremental changes now. Like, it's just massive changes. I don't know if you saw that one guy, Scottish guy that got arrested at the Heathrow Airport coming back in. I mean, it's just very, very, very worrying. And I'm like, if I get taken away from my family for some reason, then that's a disaster. Like, I don't want that. And, I love these chats because I feel like there's a real connection, even though, I mean, it's kind of a one-way chat, right? Like, it's me talking to you guys. But I see your responses and it makes me feel like it's really worth it, because there's this, Renegade in the house. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Valiant Renegade, $49.99 super chat. Look at that. Goodness me. Sending all the people over here. And then we got Dawn in the house. Waving her hand saying, me. There you go, you get a sparkly line as well. Thank you, Valiant. You're the man. Yeah, so I've been trying to, the easier response, right? The easier response is to be combative, right? It's to get in the fight, especially somebody like me, who I'm a counterpuncher, right? Like, if someone comes after me, I'm just going to flatten them, right? I'm going to go back at them. It's just the nature. And I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I've reclaimed it a little bit. It's difficult because, look, I know you said there, Crazy Cook, Jay Leno dropped the politics, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. People feel disenfranchised right now, and we know we're in a civilizational shift, right? This is very, very dangerous times. And it's funny because I was watching this clip with Jordan Peterson earlier on where this guy was like, it's dangerous. If you misgender someone, that is violence. It's not violence if you misgender somebody, right? It's not. Violence is punching someone in the face. That's what violence is. It's not misgendering someone. And again, this is all by design, right? What they're doing there, though, is they're trying to like cudgel you. And that's what really started Jordan Peterson's career in media, is they're trying to cudgel you. They're trying to bend you into complying with them. Words aren't violence. They're not. If you want to compare words with violence, all right, I'll throw a cup at you, which is real violence. I've got a mug right here. That's real violence. And then I'll say, oops, sorry. And then see if that hurts you. The words hurt you. Or I'll say, I don't like your trousers. Or whatever it might be, right? Words aren't violence. It's absurd and we have to stop it. Oh, Mike D in the house says, oh, hang on. That was Rambert. Popped up just as I was saying Mike D. Did you see Elon and X started revealing the location of accounts and many Democrat accounts were... Get out. Are you serious? Divisive accounts coming from India? Really? Tom. Cheers. So what we have is this like the left is literally changing the meaning of our words, right? They're trying to stop. They did it years ago, but they're really trying to change the meaning of our words and making them mean what they say. I'm never going to call someone a cis male. Never. I'm never going to call an individual they, them, zer, whatever stupidity they want to say. I'm not going to say, because that is, it is ridiculous. And I'm not going to buy into your, look, and I know people who have gone through difficult things like this, right? And I love them very much. And I don't want to hurt them in any way, shape or form. But I'm not participating in your delusion. I'm not doing it. And the easy thing is to participate in the delusion. You just let it go. That's the easy thing to do. The difficult thing is to say, no, I'm sorry. I know it might hurt you. But by the way, words aren't violence either, right? So just remember that. But I know it might hurt you, but I'm not going to enable your dysfunction or that other person's dysfunction. I'm not going to do it. And please, I don't want you to hate me for it, but there is a reality. And a lot of the time, the reason why people will kind of go along with it is because they feel bad. You know, with people who are like enabling that kind of dysfunction, when the parents do or friends do or whatever, it's out of guilt. It's out of guilt. So I was, having a long think about this, about the social media and how it can suck up your life. I think that these, sessions are a lot better because it's like you're talking to someone. Whereas on Twitter, you put it out and it's like, it's really getting toxic. But interestingly enough, it's like, like what was just said, like Mike D said, is that they're stoking division. Now, because it comes from India doesn't mean, obviously they're Indian bots, but they're getting paid. Who's paying them? Who is paying them to agitate people, to get them on edge? It's a total psyop. It's like what you would do if back in the day the Green Berets would want to go in and sow discord in a country. That is what you would do. So why I'm going to return back to why the world is in chaos, right? Because it's all linked. So we've got this like hyper accelerated news cycle. It's never been like this in the history of the world. Never. Even if, let's just say, wherever you live in your local town, there was a flood. And if you weren't near that flood, you might not hear about it until the next day. In your local town now, if there's a flood, you hear about it within seconds. Boom, it's there. On whatever social media platform you're on, Instagram, X, Facebook, whatever. Nextdoor, which is like X for Karens. The Nextdoor app is just the worst. It's like, I saw a man, he came to my house 7 times. That is the postman, love. He's meant to come to your house to bring you letters. And what I've noticed is they do reward bad behavior. They reward bad behavior. I wouldn't care if there is no amount of money that someone could pay me to have someone like Bonnie Blue on the show. There's no amount of publicity. There's no amount of like followers. None of that. You could never get me to have that kind of a person on my show. People have had her on their show. Money. Not principle. I mean, to me, it's just like unbelievable. Because if you try and put a more nuanced side over or something that's principled, it doesn't get clicks. And so therefore you're seen as a failure. Or your message doesn't resonate. Now, I'll tell you this. I've got Lisa Perch on here. If I never do anything again, and Tom as well, if I never do anything again, the fact that Lisa's had her life has been changed by watching someone on my show, right, Lisa? And Tom has found encouragement from the people on this, in this community. That's it. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do, is bring people together, bring a community together to be able to talk to one another. In the good times as well, to celebrate. In the bad times, you got a community, a support system, because I realize that there are so many people that don't have that. So I want you to think about this. So you've got a 24/7 news cycle, bang, 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 coming at you. And what we've done is like, we want to know, right? We want to know what's going on. And most of us want to know, not because we want to retweet it or whatever. We want to know because we want to be informed about our lives and how we should make decisions. And it used to be that we would get our newspaper and we'd look through it in the evenings. Now it's like, ba, 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 ba. So we have that. And now, in addition to that, we have your truth and my truth. Your facts and my facts. The true manipulation of data. And it seems, I mean, I don't know who we're going to come back from this. I mean, I think that there's a lot of Democrats that are coming over to Republican right now because they go, you guys are so outlandish. Like the lies that you're telling are so outlandish. But look, then you can see some Republicans are like, I can't stand the way Trump talks sometimes. And I understand that. I do understand that. Like how many of us, I can tell you, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 occasions I've gone, oh, why did you do that? Like, why? Why? Of all the good that you do, just, you're you're not going to run a 3rd term. Be presidential. Be above the fray. I mean, listen, it's okay for me to say nobody tried to blow my head off, right, at a rally. So, but I do wish for that because I do want more unity. So if you got one set of people going, and you've seen it right now, you've seen it with them saying, a lot of them now are saying the election was rigged, right? 2024 was rigged, but they didn't want to listen when we said the 2020 was rigged. They wanted to, expand the Supreme Court. Now they're like, no, you cannot get rid of the filibuster. There is so much We diametrically opposed to the left. The days are gone where it was like, oh, my uncle's a Democrat. And you're like, that's all right. We get on. We all go to church together, blah, blah, blah. He just supports the unions. Right? Remember that? Remember the good old days? Those are the good old days. Now it's not. It's like, oh, my uncle's MAGA. I'm not inviting him to Thanksgiving. That's where we are. So the other thing that has really hit us, and I don't think we have, it's going to take some time for us to truly understand the magnitude of this, is that we don't trust experts anymore. I cannot tell you a news organization that I trust. And I don't really trust. If someone says I'm a doctor, but I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Now, there are some, obviously the guy that did my neck, I'm like, yes, I trust you. You're clearly brilliant. But what I'm saying is, these doctors that are online, you're like, what are you? You're just so full of shit. You are. It's so obvious you're taking the coin. And what's worse is, it's funny. The classic example is climate change. If you see a climate change graph, right, it goes like this, right? It goes, here we are, and then, 70s, like it goes like that. If you zoom out a little bit, it's like this. So once again, we can't trust them because they give us selective data, the way that they phrase the data. It's deceptive. They're not trying to be honest. They're not trying to convey something so the American and British people can make their own mind up about it. They're being manipulative with it. So as a result, everyone's like, I don't trust any of you people. I mean, and that goes on both sides, right? It goes on both sides. So, we've got this news cycle that we have. We've got this like shared reality that we don't have anymore. It's your truth and my truth. I actually think that men have penises and women have vaginas, and they think, I don't know what they think. I know they think a man can be a woman. I don't understand that. When they're like, what is a woman? It's being womanly, like, yeah, but what does that mean, be womanly? Well, it's... And now you've got people saying that trans women's breast milk is as good as breast milk. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. If we continue down this route, right, it's going to be the end times. And some people said before, oh, well, it's been bad before. I'm like, really? It's been bad that they've been giving puberty blockers to kids and they've been chopping off genitals and whipping them around, and it's never been that bad. It's never been this bad with this much confusion, this moral confusion. Never. All you got to do is look at the movies that were around in the 70s. You look at the movies around, they'd never get made today. Even some of them in the 80s never get made today. Why? Because the Overton window has shifted so much and things have gone so crazy that even if, all I did was say we should have the choice to have a vaccine or not. I'm like, I'm just saying that, you can fucking take it if you want. Go take it. If we're all going to die, I'm going to die. My decision, not your decision. So, we've got this wackadoodle situation we're in right now where reality isn't reality anymore, and the party of science has completely abandoned it. They've completely abandoned it. Also, our standard of living has fallen hugely. Now, I said the other day, we live in an amazing society. We've got running water, running hot water. I didn't have running hot water when I was a kid, and that was 40 years ago. I mean, it was available. I just couldn't afford it, right? But we have these things. We have a toilet. We don't have to go outside and literally shit in the woods, right? We don't have to do that. You get sick, you pop a pill, you feel great. So we have a lot to be thankful for. But we've also gone bonkers in other ways, and the cost of living is through the roof. And trust me, the idea of a 50-year mortgage should never, ever be floated by a conservative. Listen, don't get me on abolishing the Fed, but I'd abolish the Fed before you give a 50-year mortgage. You want to see prices come down? Abolish the Fed. Chats. So people right now are really anxious about money, about having kids. And honestly, I've got to tell you, I think a lot of Elon Musk, right? I hate when they bash him. But if that guy talks about having more kids anymore, and he doesn't give any kind of... I have zero incentive to buy a Tesla, and I have 9 kids. I have zero incentive. This is a guy that could say, go to his board and say, listen, I want to give discounts for families. He could even say, I will fund the discounts for families out of my own pocket. The difference for a family to get a Tesla, even if they said any families over, 4 kids get 0% finance and X amount off on the Model X, because it have to be the Model X. It's the only one that has enough seats for a big family. But he didn't do it. He didn't do it. Well, stop going on about it. You never have to worry about money. The kids coming up now, they can't get a house. So if they can't get a house, let me tell you something. Having a house with a lot of bedrooms alleviates your stress massively when you've got a big family. And most people don't want to live like that, multiple people to a room. They don't want to live their lives like that anymore. And then mouths to feed. It's expensive. It really annoys me because I see people talk like that. I'm like, you clearly have never had to shop yourself personally for over 5 kids. Right now, you're looking at, for even doing Costco shops or even going to like Walmart, like Sam's Club, you're looking at $5,000 a month. Minimum. That's just like minimum food. And if you want to work it out, think about it. Those of you that are out there, if there are 2 of you, think what your grocery bill is right now. It's not going to be much lower than $1,000 a month. Am I right? Tell me. And it gets me because they make these statements. And by the way, the only people that are having kids are Mormons, Christians, and Muslims. So it's only the religious people. And even then, if you're religious, you ain't sending your kid to a secular school. It's not happening. So then you got school fees on top of that because you don't want them to be destroyed by sending them into the woke, pits of despair and hell, which is the school. You want to lose your kids? Send them to a public school. Good luck. Even if they survive public school, you send them to an Ivy League school. It's over. By the way, I'm getting to the point, I'm talking to my kids right now. I'm like, you need to get a trade. I've always pushed the trades, but I'm like, you need to get a trade. The AI is going to take over a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs. It's not going to take over climbing up into an attic and doing HVAC. It's not going to do that. It's not going to change being a spark, being an electrician. So, also, politically around the world, things are changing. You're looking at countries advancing that weren't advanced before. China, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. A lot of the Middle Eastern countries are advancing massively. I mean, they got a lot of money, but they're also the ones that think, they're the ones that are thinking outside the box now. They're the ones that are thinking forward. Oddly enough, the Chinese and like I say, those countries, the Middle Eastern countries, are the most forward thinking. Because you know what? They don't have to deal with all the shit within their borders. You try and do something wacky in China and they're going to disappear you. Right? You try and do something, you try and pull down anything in Saudi Arabia and you're gone. And I think that is absolutely the way that countries should be run. Not that they disappear you in China, but I've said this multiple times about countries like Saudi Arabia, like UAE, and Singapore. So there's something the other day where they were like, oh, this woman came in and she took drugs. Good. She should go to jail forever. People don't do it then. If you see on the news, oh, someone was running drugs into, whatever country, into the Middle East, and they go, no, you're going to get executed for that. Why should you have special status? I don't understand it. It's exactly what we should be doing in America and over there. Well, in effect, that's what we are doing in America when we're taking out those drug boats. But that's what it's going to take. I have zero problem with that. I have zero problem with China doing that. I have zero problem with the UAE doing it. I have zero problem with Saudi Arabia. In fact, we should be looking to them right now. But what I'm saying is there's been a shift, right? There's been a shift. There's all those immigrants coming in, devolving Western society. And again, the rest of the world isn't accepting them in. Neil Horn, 1970. Hal Matthew, I really enjoyed your appearance on the Monday Night Hangover the other day. Your stories were great. I hope you're on again soon. Thank you very much, sir. And as you're a newbie here, you get a sparkly line. It's a fabulous thing. I'm just saying, it's possibly the greatest sparkly line there is. So things are shifting, right? Like things are moving. The normal like world order, for lack of a better word, is changing. It's not necessarily going to be good. I think we always need to have America on top because I do think that China will be problematic. I think that they're the ones to watch because, but there's been a very interesting thing when I've seen people talk about the demographics there. By the way, I worked in China. I loved the Chinese people. I got to tell you, I absolutely loved the Chinese people. They had honor. I mean, listen, it was a bit of a shithole when I was over there. I got to tell you, like they do spit indoors and they do let their kids poop like on the sidewalk, or they did when I was there. But the people, just amazing people. Amazing people. I mean, but this is where we are. Like, we've been divided. Like, they're saying, oh, it's communism. It's like, oh, it's Islam. Oh, it's, whatever. And it's just a way of dividing us. And that is really, it sounds silly, but it's really hit home recently for me. How they're trying to do it to everybody on everything. Oh, you like Chinese food, Teresa? Let me tell you something. Chinese food in China is nothing like Chinese food here. Let me tell you, it's not the same. So we're in a situation where our technology is outpacing us. And that's causing anxiety. Gen X are the last generation to grow up in a pre-internet era. The before times. Now, personally, I think that what's going to happen is people are going to start rejecting the tech. I think they're going to start getting more and more rural. I think that's going to happen. I think people are going to. I don't want this. It's messing with my peace too much. And I certainly think like the kids are getting addicted to it. It's really changing, which goes back to the first thing that I was saying about the soccer. Like, you ain't Messi. Get the ball, pass. Get the ball, pass. Don't do 2-3 touches. But I got another kid that I know, super talented. I'm like, you don't dribble in your own half, dude. Like, and you're not that good. You're not at that level yet. And very few people are. If you watch a Premier League game, and these are the best players in the world, they get the ball, they pass it. They get the ball, they pass it. Because they're coming up against other amazing players. And they know you're not going to beat them. But kids are watching this thing on social media, and they're like, I can do this, Look at, your value is only how many tricks you can do. It's not like, for those that you guys don't know, there's a player called Roy Keane. And he was captain Man United for many, many years. Very, very good footballer. And most people now remember him as a really hard tackler. He'd scare the living daylights out the other side because he was so aggressive. And that's all they think about him. But he was a brilliant technician. He was a very good footballer. But he knew, I think he said, he goes just to the simple things, or like, give and go the ball, and he'd do that, and he'd keep the team ticking over. But now everyone wants to be the star. You just got to, be a team player. It doesn't mean that you don't get your moments. But for some reason, same way, like being physical, being strong, getting into the tackle, that has all been poo-hooed now. Now it's all like, oh no, you have to. And the funny thing is, like I said, I've seen like Mexican teams come in and absolutely flatten kids dangerously. And the refs don't blow for it because normally they're Mexican refs. So I'm not saying they're biased because they're from the same country or origin or whatever. It's because that's the way they play the game. So they don't say anything wrong with it. Okay, it's just a shoulder charge. I'm like, you just nearly took his head off. But at least they play with a bit of physicality, right? Because a lot of them are people that are out working with their hands all the time. So they go out and play a game of soccer. They're like super strong. So the other thing that has happened to us is we see every horror. Now, I don't know what that does to a man, really. I don't know. I don't know what it does to someone super young. Like, I know that the exposure to pornography at super young is very damaging. But I don't know what... I mean, I remember seeing the Daniel Pearl beheading, and it was so horrible. I wish that I'd never done it. And that's something you should never see. By the way, as a side note, like when I went up to Mount Ararat with the Kurds, they took the head off a sheep. We're up there to cook for us, and I've never seen it before. I mean, these people were amazing with a knife, and they were just, and so you can see how they could do that. I don't know how they could do it to a human being. I think it's like utterly barbaric, and I think a lot of the people that do these things are psychopaths. I think very few of them are sane. Of course, there are some people that are groomed. There are some people that have, those convictions. But if I think anyone that does something like that has lost grip of reality. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, about saying thank you to people and being polite and being respectful. And we've just pretty much lost that. I always make my kids go up and thank their coach again at the end of the game. I always get them to be respectful, to be thoughtful. It doesn't mean they're pushovers, like we've kind of lost this ability to discern kindness and weakness. And part of this is if you look of the issue I've been talking about with media and about the culture, is that everyone's like, you got to get me a business plan. I want this, I want that. And I'm like, I want to make the Taj Mahal. I want to make St. Paul's, cathedral. I want to make St. Peter's Basilica. These are the things I want to make. St. John's Co-Cathedral in film form. There's no business plan for that. You've either got to get it or you don't. There's not going to be return on investment cash in your lifetime, maybe. How long has Capra been dead? His name lives on. How long has Jimmy Stewart been dead? His name lives on, and it will do forever because they made something beautiful. Now, I'm not saying, I don't know if I can do something as great as that. I haven't had a shot to do that, but I'd like to try. And we have to. One of the things they say about Dallas, people say about Dallas, is they go, it's so ugly, right? Now, I actually don't think it is. I think, I come from Birmingham, from West Bromwich, the Midlands, which was very kind of flat and very industrial. So I see these, I was out yesterday at the lake after my son's game. So funny, we were meant to go camping. We said we were going to go camping with a bunch of our friends, and the game came up and I was like, I can't do it. So I drove to the game, drove back an hour so we could have an hour with his friends at the campsite, then drove back again an hour and a half to go, because the traffic was worse, go and play his game, and then drive back home again an hour 15. And it was very, very, very pretty. But the buildings aren't. But then you look at Old Parkland and it looks incredible. And you're like, why don't we make this? Well, because it costs more money. Yeah, but what does it mean when you look at that building? What does it mean? It makes you feel good. It makes you appreciate beauty. And that has a mental effect. Think about this. We used to go out and see beauty in nature every day. Imagine if you'd never seen a tree before and you went outside and you were like, what is this? Like it grows like that, and it's the textures, it's crazy, and then it all splinters off, and then there's other things at the end of it. It's hard to remember and I've done it multiple times because of my kids, the wonder that kids have when they see a tree, when they see a cat, when they see snow. I mean, the wonder is just irreplaceable. And you realize that is real beauty. And we can emulate that, though, through the arts, through architecture. And that's what we're meant to do. That's why the greats made beautiful buildings. If you look at something like the Chrysler Building, for example, you look at that and you're like, wow, it's just incredible. The lines are beautiful. And, you know, what else? The Colosseum. Amazing. A friend of ours went to St. John's Co-Cathedral in Malta, and I'm going to show you something now. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to show you something. See if I can just get the picture up of it. Here we go, guys. I'm going to show you the Co-Cathedral. So they went to this and they were like, this place is so beautiful. Let me show you St. John's Co-Cathedral. That is St. John's Co-Cathedral. Look at that. So as you're looking there, I can tell you this. See, to the right and to the left, you've got those arches. To the right and left, you've got those arches. Each one of those arches is one of the langs, like one of the branches of the Knights of St. John. Okay? And so the French one's in there, the German's in there, the Italian. And let me see if I can do this. Oh, I can do it. Look at this. Okay. So I'm going to just show you a couple of things here. So I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but you see at the very center, there is the altar. You can see there's a little silver thing in front of it. I can't remember what that's called now, but that is that's in front of the altar. Now behind it, you can just about see. Let me see if I can move in. See, there's a sculpture at the back. That is John the Baptist baptizing Jesus right there. Okay. Now, what you guys would have really looked at is this. And this is one of the coolest things you'll ever see in your life. All these are tombstones from knights. They're all tombstones. So what was really great was I managed to go there and my kids learn Latin at school, and so they could read. I couldn't, but they could read the gravestones. We don't make things like that anymore. We don't make things like that. And that's our loss. Let me see if I can get you a close-up on one of the gravestones. No, I can't do it. Oh, well. But you get what I'm saying. Like, if you'd have said to those, so those are the Knights of St. John, and what do you think they thought their return on investment would be, cash, for that place? Do you think they were like, well, you know, I better get 5% at least in the first year? No. No. They made something beautiful forever. And it's one of the great places. I've been to that place multiple times. And in one of the rooms just off it, you go round to the right. They used to have it in a different place, but there's the only signed Caravaggio in the world. No, that is in, you're looking at the Flatiron building. So, you know, it's very difficult when people talk about the culture to me, because I'm like, we've got to elevate the culture because we have no shared culture anymore. It's getting taken apart. I was watching For My Sins today. I was on the Peloton. I did 30 miles today. I wanted to do like I told you, I'm trying to do like 25 miles a day. I did 30 today. And I decided I'd started watching Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness multiple times on the plane and fallen asleep. And I'd heard like Critical Drinkers say how crap it was. But I was looking through it. And I really like Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor. I love Rachel McAdams. I am a massive Rachel McAdams fan. I think she's great in everything that she does. I think she has a vulnerability. I think she's almost got like a timeless beauty about her as well. Really like her. And Benedict, I mean, he's a great actor. There's no doubt. And I think he plays that character very well. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch that today. And as I was watching it, it's like the girl in it has moms. She has 2 moms. I'm like, why did you have to do it? Like, this is basically a kid's film. You don't have to normalize, gay parents in your films for kids. And I get what people say. Well, there are kids out there that have gay parents. Well, actually, they're not, right? There are kids out there that have a mom and a dad. And they might have been whatever the process is to get them that mix. It's not the point. But the one thing that is certain is that those kids, every kid on this planet had a mom and a dad. And you just don't need to say anything else. Just put a mom and a dad, but you know that they're pushing an agenda, because the majority of parents don't want their kids asking any questions when they come out of that cinema. Why did they have 2 moms? Because if you think about it, the population, the percentage of the population that have, and again, this is nothing on the kids of gay people, right? But it just makes it a nightmare for everybody else. It just does. Whereas the other kids are living in like our world, as it were. And they don't have to question that. And they might say, well, ours is a little bit different. All right, well, you deal with that, right? Because there are enough people that have to say, I'll give you an example. Me and my wife are one of the only couples in this area that, there's one other I can think of that is like, my friend is married to a Polish lady. And of course, there's a lot of like Hispanic marriages, but we're the only ones in our area that have 2 foreign parents. And my wife's from Malta. Good luck with that. Good luck with trying to find someone who's born and raised in Malta and is over in America. How do you explain that? Malta, where's that? Is that near India? You get that a lot. Is that the Maldives? No, it's not. But you have to explain it. And that's, Teresa, I know. Listen, this is the dirty little secret that no one will say, and I'm going to say it on here right now. Controversial. Gay people hate this stuff. At least our age hate it. They hate the trans thing. As far as they're concerned, they're like, hey, listen, we got everything we wanted. Just shut up now. Just shut up. Stop pushing this shit. Like, we don't want this. Let us get on with it. And there's always these like maniacs out there that just have to keep pushing. And the majority of the time, it's not gays that do it. And right now we have a whole load of people out there that are just want to feel a part of something. And so they're enjoying this conflict, right? That's just across the board. It's like, if you look at like most black people, they're looking at these Karens going, what are you doing? You don't speak for me. It's very weird. It's a very, very strange time. How some people think that they can speak for other groups of people is beyond me. Listen, I don't speak for all Catholics. I'm a Catholic. I'm, born and raised in England. I certainly don't speak for all British people. I get told that all the time, by the way. And I'm an American who loves this country deeply, and I don't speak for all Americans when I talk. I know that might sound ridiculous because we know that is inherently obvious. So basically what has happened is we've got all this confluence of different things that have come together to make chaos. It's just chaotic. Like all the boundaries have been thrown away. And you need boundaries. You need boundaries. And when you're going around a windy road, if you've ever been to Italy or Spain, or even like if you come here like Colorado or something, and you go around one of those windy roads, right? You're like, I would feel a lot better if there was a barrier up here. I mean, I don't intend on driving off the road, but I'd like something from stopping me too. Right? I mean, we need these things. And as I'm becoming an old fart, I'm also looking, I see some guys, I was on the freeway yesterday and this guy came up the underside of me. He must have been going, I was going whatever the speed limit is. And this guy like comes up, he must have been going 110, 120 mile an hour. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Like you are going to kill somebody. And I just couldn't, I was just thinking, please pull him over. Because he's a danger to everybody. We need parameters. We need limits. We try and say that we don't, but we do. We need limits. Don't have 6 bottles of wine. It's bad for you. They'll cut you off at the bar, right? If they hear you slurring or doing too much or behaving belligerently, they'll cut you off. Why? For your own good and for the good of everybody else. We need these barriers. And these barriers are just being disintegrated by the left because they want chaos. They want this. So then we don't have any experts. The experts are done. Nobody trusts them anymore. I mean, like I said, when I had my neck done, I knew the doctor was amazing. So, what else happens? Well, nobody's optimistic about the future. Are you optimistic about the future? Honestly? Do you think that we are going to get through this without going through some kind of a civil war? At some point. Do you think that this is going to be resolved, that somehow we're going to be able to reach out and the left is going to accept us and we're going to accept them? We would much easier accept them. Doesn't mean, again, like I said, we won't enable their behavior. But they're the ones that are rioting. They're the ones that are doing this weirdness. They're the ones that are trying to cancel people. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have hope for moving forward. And I'm a very, very positive person. If I'm looking at the landscape right now and I was going to say, all right, I'm going to take a right good look at it. The only hope that I have right now is that people are going to reject what's going on so vehemently because it's so destructive that they're going to go, I am done. And I think that what we've seen in recent times is people saying, this is a good thing. They're saying, I am not enough. My way is not enough. I need something else. And they turn to God. And this has been something that's happened all throughout history in desperate times. And that is a positive. But the bickering in the United States, I look at it, I'm like, we are like, guys, I hate to say it, like we're so low rent right now. And the funny thing is, the left has been saying that forever. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No. And now I'm like, okay. But they're the ones that dragged us down. So I don't even know how they have the gall to say anything. But I'm telling you, we need to start projecting hope for the future. And part of that is making movies that elevate people, making art that is beautiful. Make great music. Even throughout the 70s when it was shitty, they had great music. They had fantastic movies. The funny thing is like it's like the artist went, this is what I think about the reason why there are so many great artists from where I come from is because it was so depressing to live there. And it's funny because I mean, I love it for its things. I went back recently and there's nothing more beautiful than the English countryside, guys. It is so beautiful. And there are certainly pockets of it. And it's got more and more green in the 25 years since I left there. It's very green. But I realized like I need to be near green things. I need to be near nature. I need to see beautiful things. I need to hear beautiful music. I went to see a play the other night and I saw these kids and it filled my heart with joy that I saw these kids being creative and singing and laughing. We don't do enough of that. We are like under this constant pressure because it's like, what is going to go on? Are we going to go to war with this person? We're going to do this. Is this going to happen? Are they going to say, is the price going to go up here? And it's freaking constant, guys. It's like all the time. And I think a lot of people now I am done. It's overload. I can't do it. I want to be positive. And I am going to try and do that for you guys. Of course, I'm going to talk about things that are important. But I feel like I've been dragged into that a little bit because, when I see someone stabbed in the street, I feel like I need to comment on it. Because I look around and I go, who's doing anything about this? But we need to, all we've seen is negativity. Think, did you see the girl get stabbed in the neck? I did. Did you see the footage of the guy getting stabbed in the street? I did. We shouldn't be seeing that stuff. It's traumatic. It is evil. It drags you down. At least combat it. If you sweat a lot, drink water. If you don't eat some food. We need to have this balance, and it's all one-sided. Right now, it's all one-sided. It's all negative. Negative gets the clicks for something. Oh, we love it. We love hating. How about do something beautiful? The one thing that I really do enjoy is when I see people having fun on podcasts. Now, there are some podcasts I just want to learn. Right? I just want to learn from them, and I watch them and I learn. But I mean, I'll just talk about this, like even this thing that's coming up, the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua fight. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I mean, Anthony Joshua is an absolute frigging machine. And I'll tell you this, I'm 6'2", 225 pounds right now. Right? So 6'3", 225 pounds. I could do a drop in. And of course, that's all like finely honed muscle. No, it's not. Like if I was around 210, I'd probably be about bang on, like fighting weight. Might look a little bit skinny. But Anthony Joshua walks around like 265 pounds. And he's 6'6". And this kid, it looks like he's been carved out of bronze or like carved out of granite. I mean, have you seen his body? He's ridiculous. And he's going in with Jake Paul. And by the way, gold medal winner in the Olympics, goes on, batters Klitschko, He's one of the hardest punchers. I mean, he's unbelievable. Yes, he's had a run. I think mentally he's gone. But he's going with Jake Paul. You either have talent in these things or you don't. You can still work at your you can have a work rate. It's never going to get you to be Floyd Mayweather. It's never going to get you to be able to move and anticipate, and that's just a natural thing. It's like what I saw in my son with the soccer ball when he brought the ball down. I'm like, that is a natural thing. I don't know where you got it from. I've never seen it in any kids outside of when I was growing up, and even then I didn't see anyone have a touch like that. I mean, I know the game is advanced, but he's just natural. Now, what he does with that is what matters, right? Anthony Joshua, what did he do? Very, very talented fighter, built and worked and ran and punched and did the hours in the gym. And he expanded on that talent and became a world-class athlete. That's 1% of 1%. And yet Jake Paul is going to come out and fight him. And listen, I've been in the ring with a world champion. I've been in the ring with a world champion super middleweight, my friend Richie Woodall, who, when he hit me, he was so fast. And if you look at Richie's fights, he's not known for being fast. He was so fast in the ring. I saw his shoulder move and he hit my head guard. And it knocked the head guard round my head. These people are on another level. Like, you watch it from outside and you're like, okay. It's like when you're an actor, right? When you're an actor, you gotta be able to do all the things, right? It's not just talent. You've got to be able to take the pressure. You got to be skillful. You got to be able to know your lines. You got to be good at reading. You know, I told you guys the other day about interpreting the script, all that, and that's the same with boxing. And these guys are in a different. I mean, I trained with Logan, his brother, and they are very, very fit boys. Right? I mean, they're men, but you know what I mean? Like, I went training with Logan. He was a complete animal. I've got to give it to him. He's a complete animal. And he was actually, contrary to what most people think, a really sweet guy. Really, really sweet guy. More good at communications. Media fuel, TDS has turned so many people into teeth gnashing rage zombies. That's so true. I think everyone could stand to unplug for a day or two and touch some grass. Lion for you. We really have gone to that place. And I think that it's a normal reaction, right? It's a normal reaction because you had this bombardment from the left. This is what I'm trying to say about it's asymmetrical warfare. You had the bombardment from the left out there in news and the lies they put out on social media, and it was unchallenged. And then Trump came along and he started challenging them, and that kind of gave everyone permission to fight back. And some people started fighting back. But then what did it do? It went like this, right? So now what we have is people saying the worst things about one another. It's mainly the left. Donald Trump said, begins with P, which is the worst. That is way worse than calling somebody a Nazi in my eyes, right? It's just unbelievable. And yet they do it like it doesn't matter. So how do you combat that? I don't know. I mean, hang on a minute. This is Wonko, by the way. Your YouTube is being stupid with names lately. Really? It's not just my YouTube, right? Although it's a good name for you, More Good at Communications. That's very weird. But my point is, we are in a chaotic time. And I wanted to show you, because sometimes we just don't get time to think about why everything feels so like unsteady and unstable. And I think for the people who are, hold on one second. the people who are feeling steady and stable, I think that I think that the ones that aren't feeling unsteady and that they are feeling stable. Sorry, I just got a text there. I had to watch that because my wife never texts me when I'm doing this, and she was like texting me, and I'm like, huh? Old school people that are just got jobs that are outside, jobs that are in the field, jobs that like archaeologists and, you know, people on a boat, or, you know, sailors, or, you know, just people that don't have time to look at the social media. I think that everyone else who is who's in offices, or, you know, is engaged with political sphere, right? We're just sucked into it, and there's no kind of like getting around that. Anyway, I'm still debating whether or not I should get rid of X. Part of me doesn't want to because it's been such a good thing to reach other people with. Part of me does because I'm like, it's messing with my peace a little bit. Not much because, you know, but I feel like this is much more of a better platform because you're allowed to converse. You know, you feel like there's feedback. So, you know, we'll see. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much. I'm going to be on tomorrow again at midday. So I'd love to see you there. Thank you, all the people that came over from Valiant stream. I want to know, guys, when is a better time? Is still the 2:00 a good time on a Sunday, and a 12:00 a good time in the day? Let me know. Write in the comments, right? Like, not just on the chat. Like, go and write in the comments for me. That would be very, very useful, very helpful, and I can kind of figure it out. I've noticed some people. I was going to go on George the Giant Slayer today, but I couldn't make it. Like, I don't want to let him down, but I had to prioritize my kids. So, but I did want to go on George's Giant Slayer. So I was going to do a later show anyway today because I wanted to go on George's channel. You know, he's been so great. Same thing with Valiant. I want to go on Valiant's channel. He's such a great guy. I just want to get the times right. So go and give me times. Let me know. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great. I'm going to go and have another glass of wine, and that will make me sleep soundly because I'm an old man now. Do you remember when you used to go, wine, that's an old man's drink or an old person's drink? I'm like, yes, it is. One other thing before I go. Big question. I'm thinking about taking down all my lives that have gone before me, because just to keep the videos and the lives. What do you think? I don't even know if that affects the algorithm or whatever, but I'm thinking about taking them all down, just so that I'll keep up the the shorts, but taking down all the lives, just so, you know, we can basically come on, do a live. I'll leave it up for a couple of days and then take it off, right? Because I don't know if there's anyone like going back and looking at my lives from like a year ago. When you go into the podcast, share on you. Yeah, I really have to figure that out. I'm just, you know, I need to be more professional about it, to be honest. I need to be more like, I got to post when I'm going on. You know, my life moves like so quickly with all the kids. Like I said, he wasn't meant to be in this tournament. Then he was in the tournament, and I was meant to go camping. I'm not going camping. I might be going out the country soon. I was meant to go out the country next week. I was going to go to a really exciting place. Hold on. Yeah, I know. I know. I just part of the historical record. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing though. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'll have a think about it. I don't know if it benefits me or not. But yeah, I just like to keep things fresh. I think rather than having. Oh, that's a really good idea. Actually, maintain for age. Yeah, I'm gonna continue with the lives anyway. I just don't know whether I should delete the teaching ones from before. Yeah, I will. Like with my guests on, like Pat and Noel, definitely keep those on. And maybe yeah, they'll be moved to not just the lives, but to maybe one of the other categories. So it's not just a live; it's a proper video. So I'll have a think about it. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, please come. I'll see you tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Be there or be square. And I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And thank you for turning up when it was a late show. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, not all actors like this, I promise. Bye bye.